Did you know that right now, as you're watching this, there are 10 new laws already in effect across the UK that most people have never even heard about? Laws that could affect your pension, your healthcare, your home, and even how you travel. And here's the thing, they weren't announced with fanfare or debated endlessly on the evening news. They passed quietly. But make no mistake, they're going to impact every single one of us. Hello, I'm here to cut through the noise and bring you the facts that matter, clearly, honestly, and without the jargon. If you're someone who wants to stay informed and make confident decisions about your life, you're in exactly the right place. Now, you might be wondering, why weren't we told about these laws? Well, sometimes changes slip through because they're tucked into larger bills, or they're passed during busy political periods when attention is focused elsewhere. But that doesn't mean they're not important. In fact, some of these laws could change how you access your GP, what benefits you're entitled to, or even what happens when you renew your driving license. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through all 10 of these laws, one by one. I'll explain what each one means in plain English, who it affects, and most importantly, what you need to do, if anything, to protect yourself or take advantage of new rights you may not even know you have. This isn't about fear or confusion. It's about empowerment. It's about making sure that you're never left in the dark when it comes to decisions that affect your day-to-day life. Whether it's your money, your health, or your independence, you deserve to know what's happening. So if you're ready to get informed and stay ahead, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give this video a like. It helps more people, just like you, find this important information. And don't worry, I'll keep it straightforward and easy to follow. Let's dive in together. Let's start with something that might seem small, but could actually make a big difference to your weekly routine: the changes to postal services. Now, I know we all rely on Royal Mail, whether it's for birthday cards from the grandkids, important letters from the council, or those online orders that seem to arrive more frequently these days. Well, there's been a quiet shift in how often mail is delivered in certain areas. Some neighborhoods are now moving to a 5-day delivery schedule instead of 6, and this isn't being rolled out with big announcements or consultations. It's happening gradually, almost under the radar. For most of us, losing Saturday deliveries might not sound catastrophic, but if you're waiting for medication, important documents, or time-sensitive correspondence, that extra day can really matter. The key here is to know your local schedule and plan accordingly. If you're expecting something urgent, it might be worth checking with your local sorting office, or even opting for tracked services when possible. Now let's talk about something that hits closer to home for many of you watching: changes to council tax exemptions. This one's important because it affects how much you pay to keep your home running. There have been adjustments to who qualifies for certain exemptions and discounts, particularly around single-person households and properties that are undergoing major renovations. The rules have tightened, which means some people who previously qualified for reduced rates might find themselves paying more. I'm not saying this to worry you, but to make sure you're aware. If you live alone, or if you've been doing work on your home, it's worth double-checking your council tax status. A quick call to your local authority could save you from overpaying, or, on the flip side, make sure you're not missing out on support you're entitled to. These things don't always get communicated clearly, and councils aren't always proactive about telling you when rules change. So take the initiative. It's your money, and you have every right to understand where it's going. Here's another one that's flown completely under the radar: new regulations around access to GP appointments. Now, this is something we all care deeply about because getting to see a doctor when you need one is fundamental. The new rules are aimed at improving digital access, which sounds great in theory, but in practice, it means more appointments are being pushed toward online booking systems and telephone triage. For those of us who aren't as comfortable navigating apps or websites, this can feel like we're being left behind. The intention is to make things more efficient, but efficiency doesn't mean much if it creates barriers for the people who need care the most. My advice? Don't be afraid to insist on face-to-face appointments if that's what you need. You have that right. And if your surgery is making it difficult, speak up. Ask to speak to the practice manager if necessary. These systems are supposed to serve us, not the other way around. Let's shift gears and talk about pensions, because I know this is a topic that affects so many of you directly. There have been some technical changes to how pension credit is calculated and who qualifies for certain top-ups. Now, this doesn't mean your pension is being cut, but it does mean the thresholds have shifted slightly, and some people who were just above the line before might now find themselves eligible for additional support. Equally, others who were just below might lose out. It's all about those fine margins, and the government hasn't exactly shouted about this from the rooftops. If you're on a state pension or receiving pension credit, I really encourage you to review your situation. There are free services like Age UK and Citizens Advice that can help you check if you're getting everything you're entitled to. Sometimes it's just a matter of filling out one extra form, and that could mean an extra few pounds a week. Over the course of a year, that adds up. Don't leave money on the table simply because you weren't told about a change. Another law that's come in quietly relates to energy efficiency requirements for rental properties. Now, if you're a tenant, this could actually work in your favor. Landlords are now required to meet higher energy efficiency standards before they can legally rent out a property. This means better insulation, more efficient heating systems, and ultimately lower energy bills for you. But here's the catch: some landlords, rather than investing in these improvements, are choosing to sell up or leave properties empty. This is contributing to a tighter rental market in some areas, which can drive up prices. It's a double-edged sword. The law is well-intentioned, but the real-world consequences are complicated. If you're renting and your home is cold or inefficient, you now have stronger legal grounds to request improvements. Don't suffer in silence through another winter. Know your rights and use them. Now, I want to touch on something that affects anyone who drives, and I know that's a lot of you. There have been updates to the rules around renewing your driving license, particularly for those of us over 70. The process itself hasn't changed dramatically, but the medical declaration requirements have become more detailed. You're now asked more specific questions about your health, your vision, and any medications you're taking. This isn't about making it harder for older drivers to stay on the road. It's about safety for everyone. But it does mean you need to be thorough and honest when you fill out those forms. If you have any doubts about your fitness to drive, it's worth having a chat with your GP before you renew. The last thing anyone wants is to lose their independence, but equally, we all want to be safe. And here's a little tip: don't leave your renewal to the last minute. Give yourself plenty of time so you're not caught out if there are any delays or additional checks needed. Let's talk about something that might seem a bit more abstract, but is actually very practical: changes to data protection and how companies can contact you. There's been a tightening of the rules around cold calls and marketing messages, which is genuinely good news. We've all been plagued by those annoying calls about PPI, insurance, or some competition we never entered. The new regulations give you more power to stop this. Companies now face stiffer penalties for breaching your privacy, and it's easier than ever to report them. If you're still getting unwanted calls, make sure you're registered with the Telephone Preference Service. It's free, it's easy, and it actually works. You shouldn't have to put up with constant interruptions in your own home. Before I go any further, I just want to say, if you're finding this information helpful, it would mean the world to me if you hit that like button. It really does help this video reach more people who need to hear this. We're all in this together, and the more we share what we know, the stronger and more informed we all become. Now, another change that's come through relates to healthcare prescriptions and exemptions. The age threshold for free prescriptions hasn't changed, but the list of qualifying conditions has been reviewed, and some chronic illnesses have been added while others have been reclassified. If you have a long-term health condition and you're currently paying for prescriptions, it's worth checking if you now qualify for an exemption certificate. This could save you a significant amount over the year. On the other hand, if you've been receiving free prescriptions based on a condition that's been reclassified, you might get a letter asking you to start paying again. It's not personal, it's just policy, but it's something to be aware of so you're not caught off guard. There's also been a shift in how benefits are assessed, particularly around universal credit and the work capability assessment. Even if you're retired, this might affect adult children or grandchildren you're supporting. The criteria have been tightened, and the assessment process has become more rigorous. It's causing a lot of stress for people who genuinely need that support. If someone in your family is going through this, be there for them. Help them gather evidence, attend appointments if they want you to, and don't let them face it alone. These systems can be intimidating, but they're not insurmountable. Finally, there's been a change to inheritance tax thresholds and allowances that might affect how you plan for the future. The nil rate band hasn't increased in line with inflation, which means more estates are being caught in the inheritance tax net than before. If you own property, especially in areas where house prices have risen, this could impact what you're able to pass on to your loved ones. It's not the most comfortable topic to think about, but planning ahead can make a huge difference. Speaking to a solicitor or financial advisor about writing a will or setting up trusts might sound complicated, but it's one of the most loving things you can do for your family. It gives you control and peace of mind. So there you have it, 10 laws that have passed quietly, but each one has the potential to touch your life in real, tangible ways. The goal here isn't to overwhelm you, it's to empower you. Knowledge is power, and when you know what's happening, you can take action. You can ask the right questions, claim what's yours, and protect what matters most.